Having the ability to flick to targets in COD Mobile is like having Kobe Bryant's signature fadeaway or Steph Curry's shooter mentality to pull a half-court shot. Both aren't entirely necessary to have in your skills, but it leaves you in awe every time you watch someone do it or when you happen to perform it yourself. However, in a more competitive scenario or if you just want to get sweaty, it's a nice thing to have. It allows for a quicker reaction time if an enemy suddenly appears out of nowhere, giving you the ability to gather information in the map faster, and of course, very cool highlights. Before you proceed watching the rest of this video, you need to have your best settings for aim as well as your best sensitivity to be set for you to practice this effectively with consistency. That being said, I urge you to watch part 1 and part 2 of this aim series. If you haven't, it'll be linked down below. Now that you have your settings and sensitivity all ready, it's time to begin practicing your flicks. Most of the time when we're playing, we think we're focused on the game just because our eyes are looking directly at our screen. One thing that greatly improved my aim, tracking, and flicking is hand-eye coordination. Relying on muscle memory is one thing, but how you get better with aiming in COD Mobile or shooter games in general is actually looking at your target before even aiming. What I mean by that is instead of looking dead center at your screen all the time, what you can do is use your peripheral vision to scan for targets, and as soon as you see an enemy, transfer your eyes focus to your target and then swipe to center your camera and aim down sight. Once you start implementing this more, you'll find yourself making less mistakes when flicking onto a target, resulting into a more snappy aim. Now we're going to apply proper hand-eye coordination on all of these exercises that I'm going to give you to practice your flicks. Let's practice our short and long flicks with stationary targets. Equip a gun without much recoil for proper aim training, like the Bison that I have here. The build I'm using will be up on the screen and you're free to copy that. This first exercise will be simple. Aim at the center target at the back of the range, fire, take down that target, flick to your right, then once you take that down as well, flick to the other stationary target to the left. Pretty straightforward, right? Make sure you apply hand-eye coordination, registering the muscle memory to your brain when it comes to doing flicks. Imagine you're on a power position or a head glitch and the enemies are just coming right towards you or facing another direction while being stationary. Practice this exercise until you do 10 perfect sets of flicking, then move over to your left side, still starting at the farthest stationary target, going left, then right. As soon as you accomplish 10 perfect sets each, you're free to move on to the next exercise. The next thing we're going to practice is hitting a combination of moving and stationary targets. Just go right in the middle of the range and knock down the 4 targets in front of you. At this point, you're acting like a sentry gun. Imagine you're inside the second hardpoint on crossfire while you patiently wait for the enemies to come out the spawn point. This one's gonna be easy for you, so before moving on to the next exercise, make sure you accomplish 20 perfect sets of flicking. Now that we've gone over the most probable game-like situations, let's go crazy with the exercises by practicing multi-directional patterns of flicking onto targets. This exercise is to prepare you for flicks when enemies are on top of a power position, then snapping onto another target that's on the ground or vice versa. We're going to focus on the targets 1, 2, 3, and 4 and apply 2 different patterns. We're gonna do a mirrored letter N for the first pattern, starting from the top, going down, flick going up, then down again. The second target's tricky because you won't be able to see it from the first target, relying solely on muscle memory. For the second part of the exercise, we're gonna do a cross pattern, starting from the bottom left target, going up, down to the right, then going all across to the upper left. Again, do 10 sets of perfect flicks for each pattern. Next, doing 180s and 360s is a good way to register that muscle memory in your fingers. 360s may not be applicable to the game unless you're Profusey, but it indirectly helps you in improving your mastery of your sensitivity. 180-degree flicks are good to practice when you need to turn on someone and challenge them for your ego's sake. Do this exercise for as long as you like to get a feel of how much you need to swipe on your screen to do 180s and 360s. For the next exercise, and this is optional, practice your flicks in our longtime buddy, Hardpoint Shipment. One thing you can do is to go to any one of the corners of the map and practice your 90-degree flicks. If you want to practice your reaction time, go right in the middle of the map and flick according to the information available to you, whether that's the minimap or your enemy's footsteps. This will be really helpful for your reactionary flicks when in close to medium range. This last exercise is one that I stole from Faulty L3. Make sure you check his channel linked down below and tell him Kith sent you. Enter a hardpoint rust match, go on top of the tower, and flick onto enemies that come out of the spawn. Also, you can practice fishing for highlights depending on where the current hardpoint is and on enemy traffic, pre-aim on a corner or in the middle of two lanes, and flick to wherever an enemy appears. Before we wrap it up, let's look at the pros and cons. Shall we? One of the pros is being able to challenge impossible gunfights. With this skill, you'll be able to challenge gunfights where you have a lower chance of winning by default. Situations where your enemy sees you first, or 2v1 situations that require quick and precise reaction for you to potentially win the gunfight or gunfights. Another one of the pros is, of course, highlights. Having this in your bag will grant you such highlights just like your COD Mobile YouTube idols, namely Hope COD Mobile and Cisco. Here's some of their crazy clips, and you should definitely check them out. However, moving to the cons, one of them is it's time consuming to master. It's not something that you can master that easy. Like any skill or craft, this will take a considerable amount of time to practice and apply it in real games. You have to be patient if you want this skill to be accessible to you whenever you need it. One of the other cons is you're being too focused for highlights. Sure, you can use it to fish for highlights, but doing it all the time might cost you important gunfights in the game, especially if you're a competitive player. Play the game smart, and the highlights will come naturally. That's it for today's video, and that concludes this 3-part AIM series. If you want to watch the full series, you can check out the playlist for my COD Mobile AIM tutorials on my channel, along with the other types of content as well. And if this series helped you, please do leave a like on this video or on all of the 3 videos. What would you like to learn next? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.